Hello viewers, Super GT here. So you may have seen on the channel recently, I've started up a second profile and we're going to be starting again basically. So we have got 0 rankings, we're right to the bottom playing against the low rated players, but check this out to begin with. This is actually on my main profile. Now this orange car comes flying out of nowhere and I mean, how do you even describe this? What is going on? Honestly. It was extremely puzzling. Let's take a closer look. So we'll get round to the subject of racing the lower rated players in just a moment, but we have to analyse this. His day started in a fairly normal manner, as you can see here, starting somewhat down the middle of the pack in 9th. So he gets round here, and this is where he engages nitrous oxide or some sort of weird device. Because he pressed the button here, just look at this. He's flying across the gravel, doesn't really lose any speed, whips around there, just cuts in front of myself. And then immediately up into 2nd place, he's gained 7 positions on one corner, around the outside of the Hungarian, and smashes into the wall. Now if any of you can describe what has gone on here, then, well done, because I have no idea. We fast forward a little bit. And later on, the demonic shuffling continues. Let's just rewind that. So, I mean, again, big prizes for those who can tell me what the hell is going on here, as I have no clue. But here we go then. So I did quite a few races. Here's my rating, CA. Now, as long as you survive the first corner, I found that I was mostly fine, qualifying from pole position, and winning that race in a fairly decent overall time. So that was my 6th win on this account. Then I had the 7th, followed quite quickly, then the 8th, then the 9th, and then I actually went for one in the bloody McLaren. I was feeling that brave, although my fastest time was like 2 seconds quicker, as it probably should be when you're against the lower rated players. And we won a race in the McLaren as well, in the Darth Vader outfit, of course. So, we're going to go here. This is when my rating was EB. If you watched one of the recent live streams, you may well have seen this race, and you would have seen the next race as well. But I thought it was very much worth bringing to you as a video as well. So let's have a look then. We're going to go from last. You see there, top left of the screen, 14th out of 14. Chase cam intensifies. I know there's plenty of chase cam lovers out there. Your quest to have chase cam returning, well, you will have it for this video at least. So let's take a look at racing against the lower rated players. My rating here is EB, so a lot of the players here are EB. As I go full on into the back of a Spaniard, I hit him so hard he disappears and turns into a Russian. And well, that was a great start to our career, I think, as we almost get sideswiped by a Brit. So this is the thing. I mean, the first thing there to note was I killed someone straight away. So my name there, R4M, stands for Ram for money. So obviously big earnings from that first corner shunt. The money is rolling in right now. But of course, I mean, the main thing to note there really was, in this kind of lobby, people will brake earlier, people will do things differently, so you have to give more space. And I obviously didn't do that. I was kind of waiting for the normal braking point, braked earlier than I thought, but then I should expect that because people, these guys in this kind of lobby, just starting off for the first time, they're not experienced. So my main tip, let's go through a couple of maybe tips, because I know there's a lot of guys who are perhaps stuck, you could say, in the lower lobbies and can't really seem to escape. So the main thing there was expect the unexpected, in the sense that people don't always brake where they're supposed to, or where's the best place to brake. So going into turn 1 here, you're normally braking just before the 100 board. So the thing there perhaps I could have done, just don't stay right behind someone, especially going into a braking zone. Just maybe move out to the side, and then you can account for where they might move to, or you can account for where they might brake a little bit better. Another thing here, people don't really have very good sideways awareness, so sometimes you'll see it throughout the course of this video. I often put myself next to someone going into a turn. I was fair enough along the side of someone, but then they turn. So the thing there is really just people don't always have all the awareness. So that is something you definitely have to take note of. As I think the main thing to do when you're in these lower rated lobbies is to improve your sportsmanship rating. And of course you want to do that by avoiding contact at all costs and not getting penalties. Sometimes of course with the contact it's not always going to be your fault. This is the thing, I mean, like contact there, that was pretty much my fault. You can always avoid it. Sometimes even if the other guy is completely wrong and he's doing something really silly, sometimes it's best just to back out and say, okay, look, you have the position, you have the corner, I'm not going to take the penalty, I'm not going to take the contact, and then ultimately you will rank up your sportsmanship rating a little bit higher than that other person if they're going to be hitting everyone all the time. So just remember, every time you make contact you get that little downward SR arrow on the screen, which won't show up here because it's a replay, but obviously when you're playing that will come up. You know, that's a bad thing. If you see that, it's a bad thing, even if it was the other person's fault. So sometimes it is best just to back out, let the other people, you know, just make their own mistakes and just try to avoid contact at all costs. Sometimes that is the best way, I feel, just to get out of the lower lobbies. Improve your sportsmanship rating just by avoiding contact at all costs. Just have a couple of races where you just really try to avoid everyone, and then your sportsmanship should go up a little bit better, and then you'll be racing at least technically cleaner players. They should be, on paper, if their rating is S and you've made your way up to S, and then you can focus on improving your driver rating, which would be easier if you're racing against technically cleaner people. So avoiding contact, yeah, not easy. I mean, one of the main tips I think would be just to qualify well. This is something that maybe not enough people do. I think it's very tempting just to, you know, set a couple of laps, do, you know, like 2 laps or so in qualifying, get a quick lap and say, you know, oh, the race is starting in 2 minutes, let's just jump in. Maybe it's best, don't jump into the next race, spend 20 minutes qualifying, get yourself 10 laps around the circuit. 1, you're going to be better at the track, and 2, you're going to get a better qualifying position, and qualifying is so important in any form of racing. So I mean, if you can be starting in the top 3 rather than, you know, 7th to 9th, that's going to be a massive help, because, you know, if you're in the middle of the grid, things just become really, really difficult indeed, and it becomes so much harder to get through that pack, and the whole thing of avoiding contact just becomes an almost impossible task. You know, you're going into that first turn, you've got 7 people in front, 7 behind, or, you know, roughly, and yeah, things are going to get very, very difficult indeed. So quickly back to this race. So we were doing a last to first challenge in a way. So we started 14th out of 14, so 2 people have quit. We're currently in 3rd with 1 lap left to go. You can see the top 2 just up ahead. Obviously, as it's the replay, you can't see the time gaps on the left hand side, annoyingly, but I'd estimate that to be about a 2 or 3 second gap, maybe about 2.5, or about 2 now. So we've got the Supra there in 2nd and Full GT in the lead. So we are gaining, we've definitely been gaining on every lap. Got the fastest lap in the race so far, as denoted of course by the purple on the right hand side of the screen, 57.8. Not the quickest, I can do 56s during the race. My fastest ever lap, or my fastest qualifying lap, is a 55.8. So a little bit off the actual pace, but not too far away. And not too far away from catching up as we come down towards the hairpin at the end of the final lap. So just 4 laps here. So a short race, and you don't have much time to do the overtaking. You don't have much time to get it done, which again makes qualifying even more important in Daily Race A and Daily Race B. Not as important in C, but it's still important, still worth doing. But in Race B, you know, it's all over in about 8 minutes. You don't really have much time to get the positions. So qualifying definitely very important. And always, another tip is always just to watch some of the top replays, just to take note of where to brake and things like that, just to get your consistency up. So around the outside of the German into the right-hander, we just get the job done. You can see they're just cutting in front. They're getting to the apex ahead. So up into 2nd with, let's say, a couple of corners left to go, maybe just a 5th of the lap remaining in the Full GT up ahead. I'm hoping that he makes a mistake as we come up into the chicane, late on the brakes, just before the 100 board. Of course, maximising the track limits. It does look like I'm cutting, but just keeping 2 wheels on the curb, and that is the limit of the circuit. Now coming through here, he takes a really wide line, and on the exit we're going to go through each other with the ghosting, and I'm going to go through for the win. So there's no point in overtaking left or right, just go through them. And we get the job done, finishing in first, gone from last to first in 4 laps. On the last, it wasn't even the last corner actually, it was after the last corner. So pretty miraculous victory there. And that was actually my first win on the R4M Shadow GT profile. So for this one, it's going to be fairly similar, but we started on pole. We're going to slow down, let everyone go, and go from the back. So it's technically a first to last to first challenge. So down here in 16th, let's see what we can do from here. And swing it up the inside of the Mercedes. And with contact. See if we can go around the outside of him here, yes. So you do have to definitely change your approach in this kind of lobby. Compared to maybe a higher level lobby. You do have to leave more space, you know, anticipate things differently. Sometimes it's best as well. So as we get contact from behind, it's a very good tactic that works on Forza. It really works on Forza. Sometimes it's best not to overtake going into a turn, but just to be patient, wait behind, and wait for a mistake. A lot of people make mistakes very easily, so you can wait behind and overtake on the way out by getting a better drive on the way out of the turn instead. So that's definitely something to consider. So yeah, being patient, giving space, and yeah, just focus on being clean, improving your sportsmanship rating. That is very important. And I think another thing is just to stay cool. Felipe, baby, stay cool, because it's very easy to get annoyed, I think, and to make a race worse than it otherwise would have been. So someone hits you, you get annoyed, you hit them back, and it just descends into a maelstrom of chaos. And I understand the feeling, you know. When someone rams me off, I just want to murder them back, you know. Sometimes it's best just to avoid it and hope that they kill themselves. Oh, that sounded a bit strong. I mean, let's hope that they crash. I mean, yeah, kill themselves in terms of the race, not literally. Because often if they're annoyed, you know, they'll make another mistake very soon, and then you can go straight back past them very quickly. Up the inside of the Spaniard, that's not a good move. A little bit late, and he actually comes back on the cutback. Good move, good retake from the Spaniard there, and just dipping 2 wheels inside the curb. Not the greatest little bit of driving there. Up the inside though of the Brit. Are we going to keep this position? Yes, we are. Nice tight line through 3 and then through 4. Maximise the track limits as well. You've got to know the track limits, and they're very important around Nürburgring GP. So for reference, this was last week's daily races. I just had these video clips stored in the library. Thought I'd bring them to you because it was fairly interesting. So do ask down below for further tips. I think yeah. So I have seen in the comments quite a fair amount, as this guy just drives straight off. A fair amount that people, you know, they're stuck in the low level lobbies, not quite enjoying the game as much, or, you know, how am I not having clean races as UCBT? That kind of question. And I think the thing is, yeah, you do have to kind of work your way out of this kind of lobby. But yeah, the main thing, sportsmanship rating, improve that. Then you should be matched up against technically cleaner people, which then makes it easier to race and to improve your driver rating as well. You improve your driver rating really by beating people, just by having good results. Basically, that's the main thing. And one other tip: if you look on your bonnet of your car, you've got a number. Everyone has a number on their car, and on the side of their car. You can't quite see it on my car here, but you look at the side of the other people's cars. They've got a number, so the game basically ranks you in order of your driver ratings within that lobby. So if you have the highest driver rating in the lobby, you'll be number 1, and then going down to the lowest driver rating will be, let's say, number 16 in this lobby, because there's 16 of us. I actually got a penalty for that guy turning across for no reason. So sometimes, yes, the penalties, there's not much you can do. Like, that guy just turned across. I'm not going to really expect that. And it wasn't my fault at all, but you know, sometimes that just happens. You just have to kind of get on with it and deal with it. That kind of thing will happen. People will just turn into you for literally no reason. And I am bashing a lot of people out of the way here, must be said. But what I would say is that these lobbies were really fun. I was really enjoying this. It felt like I was playing Forza, to be honest. In many ways in Forza, half of it is racing and half of it is just picking your way through a fight and avoiding people and checking out, looking behind, checking for rammers and dodging them. And in this it kind of felt very similar. It's half the job is just being fast and being consistent, and half the job is just picking your way through and not getting involved and trying to not get hit. So it's a very, very different type of racing for sure. As a Spaniard just recovers up into 4th, you can see the people up ahead, not too far away, although we are running out of time. Just one more lap after this one, so as I say, it's a short race. So when you're qualifying in, well, I was qualifying in pole, but when you're going to go down to last, you don't have much time to recover. But I would reiterate that the qualifying thing is very, very important on this game. Just get a good qualifying lap. It just sorts you out so much, and it has a double whammy really, a double whammy bonus in the fact that you'll be better at the track. The more consistent and fast you can be, the better you will be in a race. Of course, a race isn't the same as time trial. It's not the same thing. But if you can replicate fast, consistent laps from practice that you do in practice and do them in a race, then that's good. You do obviously have to adjust slightly for all of your competitors around you, but just being able to consistently churn out quick laps, consistent laps, where you know your braking points, you know where to accelerate, you know which gear to use for each turn, then you should be able to get out of this maelstrom of chaos down here in the lower levels of Gran Turismo Sport. So that would be the main way. And yeah, with regard to driver rating, just basically just try to have the best result as you can. If you're winning against loads of people who are way higher rating than you, then you are going to go up quite quickly. And if you're losing against people who are way lower than you in terms of driver rating, then you're going to lose out quite badly. So sometimes if you're really high rating, it's not worth doing some of the races because you can only lose out really unless you win the race, then you're going to lose out. So not too far away from the end here, and not too far away from the back of this pink BMW up ahead. Maybe a 1.5 second gap here as we come up towards the sweeping left and right before the back straight here at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So over to the left hand side and getting a full sweeping motion through this turn on the throttle earlier, maximising the track into the slipstream. By this point I had a 1.5 second penalty and this guy had a 0.8. So I did have to get ahead and still get a little bit of a margin as well. Up the inside into the chicane, job done. A bit of ghosting, which can help in these low lobbies, which is actually very, very useful I think at times. So it does avoid the ramming, and you saw in the previous race that it worked out at the end. This guy's flashing me and well, it's not really going to do anything as I come across the line to win. So there we go, a victory, a last to first and then a first to last to first straight away. But that brings a close to the chronicles of Ram Shadow on the R4M Shadow GT second profile. So thank you for those who've tuned in for the live streams. Look out for more of those very soon. And of course, if you want to stay up to date, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, Patreon, channel membership, it's all there, you beautiful people. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please do comment your thoughts down below. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.